So, a very good morning to one and all. So, am I audible to you? Right. So, in the last class, we already started. That means we already completed what we call Spargace. Right. So, in Spargace, we already solved 3 or 4 problems, especially. Right. So, we already completed 3 or 4 problems in your previous classes, especially. Right. So that is what we call your Spargace. And one more point I want to clarify in this particular class, especially regarding of your Spargate. See, till now we only solved the problems based on your given data. Please understand. Till now we solved the problems based on your given data only. But in the examination, they may ask you design a Spargate. So if at all if they're asked for design a Spargate, then you have to solve your problem from starting point to ending point. Starting point to ending point. So what is the starting point means? Starting point means here starting of your number of teeth in design point of view, starting of number of teeth to the ending point of your VS strength. And you have to check at each and every stage whether your design is safe or not. And definitely we try to solve that particular model, one problem model. So I try to give that particular problem by next class as hard class, so that you can easily understand that particular problem. Complete design, right? If at all if you're understanding this problem, that is sufficient. No need to worry, because those steps are repeated again in your design process. But in order to make you understand thoroughly, so that we try to solve one particular problem, which includes a complete design procedure. A complete design procedure from starting point to ending point, right? Starting point to your ending point, and how you supposed to check your design values. Those things also we try to cover, no problem. But meanwhile, you try to understand, so what is by your helical gear, and what are the design procedures, and what are the terminologies we are having, right? So if at all if you're completed, then the problems are very much similar that of your spar and helical gear, so that we will discuss about your complete problems on your spar and helical gears in remaining time, right? Okay, fine, very good. So now the topic is you are having helical gear. So we already discussed what is known by spur gear and what is known by helical gear in your introduction class of your gate drives. In the basic class of your gate drives or introduction class of your gate drives, we already discussed some of the important points regarding what is known by gate drive and how do you select your gate drive and what is the types of gate drives, right? And how you classify your gate drives. All those things we discussed, right? So again here you're having a statement. You please go through the statement regarding of your helical gears. Then afterwards we directly move on to the your basic terminology of your helical gear and basic design procedure simultaneously. Okay, without wasting time. Right, helical gears means it has a helical gear has a teeth in form of helix. That is the basic point you have to understand, Amma. The helical in case of your helical gear, you are having teeth are in form of a helix. So here helix angle plays a very important role. The differentiate between the spur gear and helical gear here, whenever you are having a helix angle, then automatically you came to know that it is a helical gear, right? So that is the one point, Amma. Right? So these gears are maybe used to connect two parallel shafts in place of spur gears. So the helix may be right-handed on one gear and left-handed on another. So it may be helix. So helix it may be on right hand side, it may be on left hand side also. Right? Right. And the pitch surface are cylindrical as that of your spur gear. Right? Right. So in this case, in case of spur gear, you are having parallel, the T circuit parallel to the axis of the shaft, but in this case, you are having angle of inclination. That particular angle of inclination is called as helix simply. Right. So there are different types of helix angle, I mean helical gaze you are having. You please go through this. I hope you are having in your calm. Otherwise, if you are not covering, no problem. Like just simply go through this notes, especially, then you can easily understand. No need to worry. Just simply understand what is meant by helical gear. That is sufficient, right? What is meant by helical gear and what are the types of helical gears? Just simple classification. But our major concentration is simply, so what are the basic terms you are involving in case of a helical gear and what are the design considerations for your helical gear. So before going for helical gear, you must know that what is a helical gear. A simple definition, right? It is very much similar to that of your spur gear. Please understand that it is very much similar to that of your spur gear, but instead of teeth, coming to the teeth point of view, in case of spur gear, teeth are kept parallel to the axis of the shaft, but in case of helical gear, you are having some angle of inclination. And those angle of inclination, right hand, it may be right hand side, it may be left hand side, helix, right? Fine. Now this is the terms that are used for helical gear and very, very important point. So same terminology also we discuss in case of spur gear also. See, terminology that are used in spur gear and helical gear are very, very, very important question. Please understand, and the formulas that are involved in your basic terminology also plays very, very important role while you are problem solving and also in your theory point of view especially. So I keep on saying in each and every class, terminology, terminology, terminology. I mean, the terms that are used in a helical gear and spur gear are very, very important. Right. So here in this case, the following are the basic we're having. The following are the terms. So one is the helix angle, second one is the axial pitch, and third one is the normal pitch. Right? Right. So please observe the figure and just simply go through the definition of your each and every point. So what is meant by a helix angle here? So helix angle means it is a constant angle helix with the axis of rotation. Simple. So with the axis of rotation, having the helix. So some certain angle of inclination you are required. So what is certain angle of inclination is normally we consider 20 degrees. Normally you can consider 20 degrees. Right? But next, what is by axial pitch? Axial pitch means it is a distance parallel to the axis between the similar face of the adjacent teeth. And it is the same as if you were circular pitch. So that it is denoted by PC. Same circular pitch also you are having in case of your what we call spur gear. So what is the formula for circular pitch? Can you recollect what is the formula for circular pitch in case of your spur gear? Circular pitch. Can you recollect the formula for circular pitch in case of your spur gear? Without referring of your textbook. If you are having any textbook, you please don't refer that. Okay, anyway, fine. Next one is your normal pitch. So normal pitch means it is a distance between a similar face of your adjacent teeth along the helix on the pitch cylinders, normal to the teeth. So you are having mathematical relation. So you are having a mathematical relation Pn equal to Pc into cos alpha. Right? Right. So here you are having a note point. Please go through the note point. The relation between the normal pressure angle in the normal plane and the pressure angle in the diameter plane. The relation between normal pressure angle pi n in the normal plane and pressure angle pi in the diameter plane is given by tan pi n equal to tan pi into cos alpha. Please remember this relation. This relation may use for your problem solving technique especially. Right? So you need not remember any formula. Just please understand and please go through the terminology one by one. That is the basic point. See, in many number of students, especially many number of students. You please verify your senior students especially. The main drawback of those particular students who got failed in their earlier examinations is due to lack of observation. Lack of observation only. Lack of observation means simply here I'm explaining the terminology one by one. Right? So I'm explaining the terminology one by one. So if at all, if you're having a data book, I keep on saying that please having a data book with you whenever I am explaining the design procedure or whenever I'm explaining the some terminology. In the beginning of the chapter, I will tell you that it is mandatory for this particular chapter for having a data book. So whenever I mention at the beginning of the chapter, then it is your duty to having a data book. Then what happens means whenever I told you that some of the terminology is very important, so you please verify in your data book because the notations may be different. Notations may be different, right? But the name is same. Suppose have a normal pitch. Everywhere it is a normal pitch. Everywhere it is a normal pitch. But the notation may different. Notation may simply here you are using PC. In some other textbook they are using some other notation. So on that particular point, you please what we call put a pencil mark without facing any difficulty in your examination or while you are solving the problem. Right? So observation is very important. Here in this case, especially in this particular what we call subject, no need to remember any formula. No need to remember. I keep on saying that it is a copy paste examination. Just simply how to copy paste your formula, but understanding the formulas and understanding notations are very important. That point you have to keep in your mind. Right? Right. Anyway, so move on forward. So what is the phase width of a helical gear? So whenever phase width of helical gear, you please tell me that what is the phase width of yours per gear? What is your phase width of yours per gear? I'll tell you that some standard notation I already mentioned. Suppose if you having any difficulty for finding out the phase width value, please assume the phase width value, some standard notation. What is the phase width value for yours per gear in terms of module? So nobody is responding means right. So same person is responding every time. So simply they remain silent as easily as usual. So somebody is on your mic, Amma, you please put off your mic. Right. So your phase width value is 10 times module as per gear. See, please verify that each and every year, whenever you're having similar terminology, then you can easily understand. On the particular case, we're having B value equal 10 to 15 times. Normally, the range value is 10 to 15 times, but normally we consider 10 times module. B is equal to 10 times module in case of yours per gear. Right? Now in this case, so what is the phase width? So here the phase width is here you are having. So the formula for phase width you are having is, so V is the minimum phase width, that is 1.15 PC by tan alpha. So everywhere in this case you are having a terminology with respect to angle of inclination. With respect to angle of inclination, please understand. Right. So B value equal to 1.15 PC by tan alpha, where PC equal to circular pitch. So in the definition, I already asked you that what is the circular pitch formula for per gear. In that case of circular pitch also PC equal to pi m only. Please verify that PC value equal to pi m only. Okay. Right. So here a note point is mentioned here. Please observe that maximum phase width may be taken as 12.5 m to 20 mm, where m is the module. So on that case, you are having 10 times module, and in this case, you are having 12.5 m to 20 m. So where you supposed to use this value 12.5 m to 20 m? So whenever you are having no data is available, So if you want to assume the value of phase width value, then this value. Then you please go for this particular value. So B value equal to 12.5 m to 20 m. Right? Next. So in terms of diameter means diameter of the pinion, the face width should be 1.5 dp to 2 dp. 1.5 dp to 2 dp. Right? Right. So you please go through the each and every relation, Amma. And here also you are having, whenever you are having tangential load component, tangential component and axial component, you are having a relation WA equal to WN sin alpha or WT tan alpha. So this relation also very, very important. The same relation we applied in case of your what we call Spurger. In Spurger also in the last problem, we already solved in this manner. Right? So please follow the relations one by one. Then it is easy to understand. So you try to apply this relation whenever it is required. You try to apply this relation whenever it is required in your problem. So please 3.5 means what is the pi value? 3.14. What is the module value? Formula for module. Please put your mind properly. Think, right? Please think in a right way. Please don't by heart. Right? Please don't by heart. What is the pi value? 3.14. What is the m value? Right? So you please, pi m is your circular pitch value. And if at all in every textbook, in terms of D and T, they mention that you please substitute in terms of m only. Right? You will get the answer. You will get the answer. Okay? Right. Okay. Fine. Now, in case of a double helical gear or herringbone gear, the minimum phase width is given by B equal to 2.3 PC by tan alpha. Right? So 2.3 PC by tan alpha whenever you are having a herringbone gear. And the maximum phase width value, if it is a herringbone gear, the maximum phase width value is 20 times m to 30 m. 20 times m to 30 m. So please understand the terminology one by one. So these terminologies are very, very important while you are in your designing process, especially while you're applying these principles to your problem. This design procedure, I mean, the standard values are very, very important. It's a very, very important role. Right. So anyway, it is available on textbook, no need to worry. So if at all try to circulate this particular up to this particular chapter, first Spurger and helical gear. Okay, right. Now it is a right. Now third point is in single helical gear, the helix angle is ranges from 20 to 35 degrees. It is also another important point. Note 3. Note 3, please observe that in a single helical gear, the helix angle is ranges from 20 degrees. Normally, we consider 20 degrees unless and until it is specified. Normally, we usually take 20 degrees. Right? So 20 to 35 degrees. For double gear, it may be taken up to 45 degrees. So you don't worry, whether it is a single helical gear or double helical gear. Definitely, they are specified in your given data of your problem while you are designing. No need to worry. Right? So if at all they are not specifically mentioned. So if at all, if they are not specifically mentioned, whether it is a single gear or a double gear, then it is your choice, Then it is your choice. Then it is your choice. Then it is your choice to verify. Not verify, it is your choice to consider your convenient gear. Convenient gear means suppose if you are having a suppose if it is not mentioned in your problem, then directly you can take single helical gear or double helical gear, or if not herringbone gear also, no problem. Herringbone gear also. Okay, right, no problem. Right. So we move on to the one by one, no need to worry. I came to that point, no need to worry. Right? So we are moving one by one. So first one is we are having what is meant by a helical gear. So how do you identify a helical gear? That is the first part. right? And now you try to observe that already we discussed about the spur gear. Now you try to differentiate what is known by spur gear and helical gear. That is another important point, right? So after having those differentiation, so what is the differentiation means? In case of spur gears, what is the number of teeth you are having? In case of helical gear, what is the number of teeth? What is the differentiation? Now you are having terminology. After having terminology, then you can go for loading condition. After loading condition, then you go for efficiencies. So after having efficiency, then you can go for difficulties, applications and difficulties. So this is a procedure, standard procedure we have to follow one by one. So no need to worry. No need, you are not having any hurry, Sama. So you move on in a slow manner, right? So whenever that particular topic will come, definitely we will explain. Okay? Okay, fine. Now you please try to understand and please try to differentiate of your spur gear and helical gear. That's your duty right now. Right? Next. So what is the format or equivalent number of teeth for helical gear? So here the equating number of teeth, the format or equivalent number of teeth are given by, so T is equal to T by cos cube alpha. Equivalent number of teeth. So it is here the equivalent number of teeth plays a very important role. Equivalent number of teeth plays a very important role. So for sake of convenience, just please understand the relation. Then you will observe how it is very important. You came to know while your application. Right now, you please understand the relation, that is sufficient. But in the application point of view, definitely we will explain while you are designing of your helical gear. Okay, fine. So what I mean by T means equal number of teeth, and T means actual number of teeth on helical gear, and alpha is your helix angle. So here everywhere you are having a helix angle. Amma, you please understand that. Helix angle, helix angle, helix angle. Right? Right. Now the standard proportions of your helical gear. Standard proportions of your helical gear. What are the standard proportions? Right. So here the proportions of helical gears are not standardized, but the following are the recommended by the American Gear Manufacturing Association. So why it is not standardized, Ramma? That is another important point you have to be understand here. So why we are only, so here the statement is mentioned that the recommendations of AGMA, so American Gear Manufacturing Association. What is the difference between recommendation and standardization? What is the difference between standardization and recommendation? So please post your answer in the chat box. Right, anyway, please follow the dimensions one by one. So nobody is responding. So anyway, so pressure angle. So limits to helical. See, it is not limits to helical, Amma. See here, standardization means why they are not standardized means here it is a design. So I already told you that it is a design. So it is your choice. As a design engineer, it's your choice to design as per your convenience and as per your application. But means application is varied. Applications are varied depending upon what we call a designer point of view. Suppose some designers want some type of application, another design want another type of application. so that we cannot specify that only this value is suitable for this particular application, right? And that means you cannot say blindly. Suppose if I am selected pressure angle is 20 degrees. Let us say consider an example that suppose I am considering the pressure angle is 20 degrees, and I cannot say that the 20 degrees pressure angle is applicable to each and every application of your helical gear. If you are saying that means definitely it will fail. Definitely it will fail at any instant of time, right? So that is the reason why they are not standardized. Recommendation means based on the based on the observations and based on the values after getting the number of experiments. After having the number of experiments and after verifying the number of results, these kind of values are suitable. That means you can use. He doesn't say that these are the only values you're supposed to use, right? That is the basic point you have to understand, right? So here the pressure angle in the plane of rotation. So pressure angle is pi is 15 to 25 degrees. Pressure angle is 15 to 25 degrees, and helix angle is alpha equal to 20 to 45 degrees. So alpha equal to 20 degrees to 45 degrees, right? So pi is 15 to 25 degrees, and addendum is 0.8 m and addendum is 1 m. M is module here, right? So minimum total depth is 1.8 m and the minimum clearance is 0.2 m and thickness of the tooth is 1.5708 m. So these are the values that are available in your data book also. If you are having any data book, you please verify these values. Because while you are solving the problems, you may require these values. Right? So thickness of the tooth 1.5708 m. Right. Right. Now you are having a strength of helical gear. So what is meant by strength of helical gear? So what is the formula for your strength of spur gear? So I am comparing one by one spur gear to helical gear because already you are having a spur gear. So that my comparison with only spur gear, right? So what is the beam strength of your spur gear? What is your spur gear strength? Basic equation. Strength means basic equation. Beam strength or Lewis equation. See, I already told you that it is similar process. Spur gear is very much, helical gear is very much similar that of your spur gear except your pressure angles are helix angles. Only helix angle, not pressure angle, you're having helix angle. That is the only difference. Remaining things are same. Now you please tell me what is the beam strength of your spur gear. See, just now in the last class only we completed spur gear. In the last class only we already solved one problem. But still you are hesitating. Right, at least you try to observe the equation, right? At least you try to observe the equation of your helical gear beam strength and whether it is very much similar or different one. It is very much similar or different formula. At least you try to identify the difference. Right. Same formula, but the only difference is here. Please observe in the given relation. WT equal to sigma naught into CV, B into pi into M into Y dash. You please observe that here it is a Y dash. That is the difference. In the last class, you are having only Y value for pinion or Y value for gear. But here you are having Y dash. What is meant by Y dash here? Y dash means tooth form factor or Lewis form factor for corresponding to the formative number of teeth or equivalent number of teeth. So in the earlier, you are having equal number of teeth TE. TE equal to T by cos alpha. You are having a formula. Equivalent number of teeth or formative number of teeth. Based on the number of teeth, you are having y dash value. Right? Right. So what is meant by sigma naught? Sigma naught is a allowable static stress. Sigma naught is a allowable static stress and CV is the velocity factor. So what is the value of CV in case of your Spur-Gates? In case of Spur-Gates, you are having CV values, velocity factor values. Velocity factor value will depends upon, at least you please please tell me that velocity factor value. On what basis you are having velocity factor? Velocity factor, not type of gear. So somebody is saying the type of gear. Right. Pitch line velocity is the correct answer. Pitch line velocity is the right answer because you are having pitch line velocity. Based on pitch line velocity only, you are having velocity factor. Right. So in case of your Spur-Gate, the velocity factor value CV equal to 3 by 3 plus V and 6 by 6 plus V and 7.5 by 7.5 plus root V. So these are the three formulas you are having. And one more point, Amma, I have to mention here. So whatever the CV values I have mentioned here, 3 by 3 plus V, 6 by 6 plus V, those values may vary in your data book. Those values may vary in your data book. Please don't get confused, Amma. So in your data book, whatever the values you are having, CV value, please take those values as it is, no problem. Please don't get confused that you are having 3 by 3 plus V in your data book, you are having 4 by 4 plus V. So that your answer is wrong or your data book is wrong. Please don't think like that. Right? So in data book, definitely you are having some different value. Please don't worry. Please observe only pitch line velocity ranges. Please observe only pitch line velocity ranges. Based on the pitch line velocity, you can consider the corresponding velocity factor value. Corresponding velocity factor value you may consider. Right? These may slightly vary, not much vary, somehow only slightly. The values may vary slightly in your data book because ultimately the data book is final. Ultimately the data book values are final. Right? So that they may change, they may vary. They may have some difference of values are available in your data book. So you please observe that. Right? You please don't think that these are the values, exact values you are having in your data book. Definitely not. Definitely not. Okay. So if you are having any data book with you, please respond. Amma, is there any change in CV values? Out of 120 students, if at all, if you're having any data book, and in your data book, if you're having any difference, you please tell me the difference. Whether it is exactly available or different values are available. Right. If you're not having data book, no problem. You may verify later, no problem. But thing is, this point you have to understand. Carefully how to, because everything you have to consider from your data books. Ultimately, data book is the final. Right? So normally, these are the only values you are having, but sometimes in some textbook, you may have some different values, but no problem. But your values will be considered based on your pitch line velocity only. Right? Right. Now, here in this case, especially for your helical gear, what is your CE values? The CE values are here 6 by 6 plus V and 15 by 15 plus V and 0.75 by 0.75 plus root v, and 0.75 by 1 plus v plus 0.25. Right? So it is purely based on your velocities. So pitch lane velocity is ranging from 5 meters to 10 meter per second, and 10 meters to 20 meter per second, and more than 20 meter per second, and more than 20 meter per second. Right? So please consider the pitch lane velocities. So here that is completely different. Spur gear is entirely different from your helical gear. So as I told you that here the range of values are also varied. The structure is entirely different. So how do you get the exact values? The structure is different here. Right? The number here, the teeth are placed very, very important role. Amma. See, always suppose in a helical gear, let us assume that your helical gear is also similar that of your spur gear, then both are equal. Then both are equal. Right? So according to your application and according to the cutting of your gate teeth, you are having this type of observation 6 by 6 plus v and 15 by 15 plus v. So that is the reason why it is only recommendation. Recommendation means based on your experimental verification. So why not we are using 3 by 3 plus v means there is no answer. Why cannot we use 3 by 3 plus v means it doesn't satisfy your result, or maybe suppose in what we call small applications, they may satisfy your result 3 by 3 plus v. Because I already observed that in some of the data book 3 by 3 plus v also available in some textbooks, in some data books. But purely it is based on your pitch lane velocity. Purely it is based on your pitch lane velocity. So there is no hard rule of using of 3 by 3 plus v, 6 by 6 plus v or any other formula. But you are having some recommendation is required. Right? So I hope you understand this answer, Amma. There is no such hard rule. But you have to satisfy the given conditions. Satisfy the given conditions. Right? In order having a safest design. Right. So, but here in this case, you are having only 6 by 6 plus v, 15 by 15 plus v, likewise you are having based on your pitch lane velocities. So you have to follow these relations. There is no other way. Because all these relations are based on the experimental verification results. Right? So if at all if there is any other values other than these values in your data book, you also consider those values, no problem. Right? Right. See, please don't get confused, Amma. So here different values are available in different textbooks, but ultimately based on your pitch lane velocity, you can consider by direct value from your data book. No, I mean, there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. Please don't get confused. Okay. Next, dynamic tooth load. So after having of your start beam strength value, next you automatically are having dynamic loading. So what is your dynamic loading condition in your spur gear? So it is a very big equation. So no, it's a very difficult to type also. So at least you please observe that is there any difference? At least you try to observe that is there any difference in your spur gear and helical gear of your dynamic load? Is there any difference in spur gear dynamic load and helical? Right, cos alpha. Very good. Very good. So you are having, see, whether it is, if it is a helical gear means definitely it involves a helix angle. Helical gear means it involves helix angle. Right? Helical gear means you try to observe the helix angle. So please observe the relation WD equal to WT plus 21V BC cos square alpha plus WT cos alpha by 21V plus square root of BC cos square alpha plus WT. Where V, B and C having usual meanings as discussed in spur gear. Right? Right. So you are having as usual meanings of your spur gear And one more point, Amma, you are having C value, especially this form factor. C value means you are having a form factor. So whenever you are having a similar material, the form factor value will be standard value. I think you are having 115, so 11800 or 11500 something. You are having some standard value, form factor, C value. But if it is a different material, you are supposed to use the relation, right? Right. So please observe, if at all you are having a data book, whether these values are as easily available or not, you please verify in your data book. If at all, if it is not available, please try to compare those relations in your data book to this particular relation and try to make some changes, because ultimately you have to carry your data book in your examination. So whatever the values that are available in data book, you please as easily copy of your values and paste it on your answer sheet. Right. Next point is you are having static tooth load or endurance strength. So endurance strength is it is also very much similar that of your Spurgeon. So sigma b sigma e into b into pi into m into y dash. Now you are having maximum limiting of your so you are having wear loading condition. Maximum or limiting wear tooth load. Wear tooth load means WW equal to dp into b into q into k cos square alpha. dp into b into q into k by cos square alpha. And dp, b, q and k are usual meanings are discussed in Spurgeon. And your k value is sigma square into sin pi n by 1.4 into 1 by EP plus 1 by EG. EP and EG are the Young's modulus and pi n are the normal pressure angle. Okay, you will have the value, Amma, no problem. Please don't worry of your y dash value. Please don't worry. We will have the discussion while you are having problem. Right? Please don't worry. So please understand the terminology that is sufficient here. Understand the terminology, what is meant by y dash. That is sufficient. So in place of y dash, you are having y dash p or y dash t, that is different case, depending upon the weakest part. Here also, you are having the same procedure. So here also you are having same procedure. Here also you are having same procedure. Right? Here also you are having same procedure. Same procedure means, so first you try to find out the weakest part. First you try to find out the weakest part at the initial stage, and after that try to find out the number of teeth and pinion. Here number of teeth is effective number of teeth. So effective number of teeth and pinion, effective number of teeth and gear. Right? So after having effective number of teeth and pinion, effective number of teeth and gear, then next thing is as usual module value, phase values. Then you are having standard design procedures, right? So only one difference here is effective number of teeth. That is the only difference we are having. Effective number of teeth is the only difference we are having, right? So remaining things are common. So here K value also, if it is the same material, if it is the same material, you are having some standard relation value, some standard value you have to consider for K value. This K relation, so what are the formula you are showing, I mean, you are observing on your screen, the K value that is used for different material. See, always, Amma, you please don't worry that beam strength value is always greater value compared to your remaining values. That is the only point you have to understand. Always, what are the value calculated in your beam strength? Those beam strength values should be higher than that your remaining values. So same point you already observed in your in your spur gear also. In your spur gear also, always whatever the type of gear it is, whether it is spur gear, helical gear, even it is a bevel gear, even it is a worm gear. So you are not having those gears, but beam strength should be high. because it is standard gear strength, right? This is based on your Lewis equation. So based on your Lewis equation. So always the beam strength value should be high compared to that of your remaining gears. Okay. So these are the points of commonly observed points we are having in case of your spur gear and helical gears. And please, after having of this session, so after having of your this session, you please observe the difference between spur gear and helical gear, the formulas especially, right? So that you can easily understand, and it is very easy for you while you are solving the problems especially. Okay, Namma. Okay, so please try to observe those points. So please observe those points, Amma. Right. So in the next class, we try to solve 1 or 2 problems on helical gear. Then commonly on Saturday's class, complete design procedure of your spur gear and helical gear. So we have to wind up our spur and helical gears after having of these problems, complete problems. Okay. So now you please verify your problems, especially you please verify your problems, spur gear and helical gear. I mean spur gear especially. You please try to verify your spur gear. Please try to verify your spur gear completely, right? So after having of your spur gear, then you please directly move on to our helical gear design procedure. So later on, we are comparing of your spur gear and helical gear problem. I mean, while you are discussing the problem, we are comparing. But on Saturday's class, complete design procedure, right from starting point to ending point, how you supposed to verify whether it is a greater than value or less than value, right? So those values we try to discuss some. Okay, right. So please practice some the problem that you're having in your RS Kurmi and Bandari. So see, I observing that Bandari is having a very good problem, especially compared that of your, I mean, in this case of RS Kurmi. So you please try to verify your problems on Spark. And Saturday's class also, I am dealing with your problem based on your Bandari textbook, especially. Okay, so that you can easily understand. So in both the ways, in both the textbooks, right? So. So thanks, Vema. Thanks for your responses and thanks for your presence. So you may now leave the meeting hall.